Yeah, because I think a big thing is you look at an example like Blue Lock Season 2, where I think that got memed to shit for some of like the animation quality in there. And I honestly I honestly feel for the animators because it just felt like you have two options. You have two paths. You go the ReZero path, where you have to wait literally like 4 years between adaptations. Not ideal, but this new season of ReZero has gone so fucking hard. It's been such a good adaptation, right? But the hype is a lot less just because we've waited so many years. And then you have Blue Lock, the manga that was the top-selling manga of that year, right? When season 1 came out. And, you know, because of the World Cup as well. Yeah. And so season 2, we didn't have to wait too long for season 2. And considering the product that we got, this is just my hypothesis, but I think what happened was instead of like it being greenlit ages ago, my hypothesis is that it feels like it got greenlit after they saw the success of season 1. Yes. And then rushed out this product for season 2. Yeah. And that's why a lot of season 2, aside from like the final episode, is the quality that we got.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes sense because Japan has and always probably will be an entertainment industry that relies so much on trends. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, this thing is trending right now. We need to get something out right fucking now, regardless of, to the best that we can in terms of quality. But sometimes that quality is not the quality that everybody else is expecting. But then, of course, you get, in the case with like Blue Lock in Japan, for instance, even though it was memed to shit in the international community, the Japanese community was just like, peak anime, let's fucking go. More soccer boys, hell yeah. I don't give a fuck. We just got a new anime adaptation. It's like, at that point, if it being the studio, it's like, okay, which do you look at? Do you look at just like how well it did domestically, regardless of the quality drop, or the amount of fucking memes that came out of it in the international community? Yeah. It's hard, right? Because at the end of the day, it is a business. And it's like, well, if this is the best move, we just need to fucking get something out there and just make the bag while we can.
Yeah, which is why like it's whenever I see people arguing over, like how they released Invincible with like that got like so much controversy because there was like time between episodes and time between the release of one half of the season from like the second half of the season.
That was season 2, right?
That was season 2. And I was thinking, damn, compared to anime, this got made super fucking fast for how much content was made compared to like some anime adaptations.
I guess so, it'd be the equivalent of like 20 episodes. And it took, I think, 2 years for it to come out? But then season 3 came out 1 year later?
Yeah, exactly.
So it seems like they've figured it out a bit with the growing pains of that. Season 3 was good. Some of the animation was not great in the earlier parts of season 3, but by the end, it was really good.
Okay. I haven't watched season 3 yet, so...
it's really good. Really recommend it. Yeah, okay. I mean, look, the last episode's fucking banger. So you might have seen some clips or something.
I think I did, yeah.
So check it out. I actually really, really loved Invincible season 3 a lot. Okay. I had a really good time with it.
Nice. Yeah,
I love that show, except when he cries all the time. I wish he would cry a little bit, like 20% less.
That's good. No, I mean, I'm always of the mindset of just fucking let people cook. I don't mind waiting for a good product, and I know that people are impatient nowadays. And obviously it's a business, so hype is a big factor in terms of whether you can keep continued success. But my mindset as a personal watcher of anime and just entertainment in general is that there is so much shit to occupy my mind. At any certain point, I can wait a year, 2 more years for this really cool thing.
Yeah, it's not like there's nothing we're watching in between that time.
I do think like maybe some of the pushback I feel like comes from the fact that we used to get stuff a bit more consistently. When there was a show coming out, if there was multiple seasons, we'd often just wait 1 year. And now sometimes, I know this is not anime, but like Severance, I know people were like super annoyed that the fact that it's hit like 3 years for season 2 to come out.
Yeah, but I don't know if this is maybe this is a hot take, but
I'm just playing. I'm like trying to explain like the other side. I don't necessarily agree.
I think shows are better now.
I think shows are better now. Like we do have better shows, but I think people are used and have that frame of reference of like when a show is good, we get a season 2 or 3 a year later, and they're not used to waiting.
Because like what would happen before, and I don't know if this is still a thing, but I see this less and less, is that you would have shows like, for example, like House, or fucking Dexter, or like shows like that, or 24, shows that you got a new season every year, It was always a constant on television.
Yeah.
And my God, did it fucking drag on, you know?
Oh yeah. No,
You know, it was basically like a lot of like episodic episodes. There were some really, really good episodes and stuff like that. But for the most part, I look at shows like that, and I look at the more like, in my opinion, tightly written modern shows where it's like things are more compact into seasons. Seasons may take more time, and to me, I can see a quality difference between modern shows.
Oh, for sure.
And a lot of the shows
absolutely.
and the yearly shows we got back then.
Absolutely.
But back then, we just didn't have a lot of time, you know?
Yeah.
And then something like Breaking Bad came along, and it was like, wait, we're gonna plan for 5 seasons and only 5 seasons. And I can't think of like many other shows before Breaking Bad that just had that kind of philosophy.
But Breaking Bad didn't have long breaks between seasons, if I recall correctly. I don't think it was that long. Can we check, actually? I'm actually curious now. But, you know, I think TV shows are just better now, for sure.
Definitely.
But I think there is, like 3 years. Is 3 years too long? Not long enough?
I think 3 years is a good amount of time for me for a production.
Yeah, it was like pretty much every year.
Yeah, damn, it was every year.
But I do find myself, and like, is this a criticism of me as a consumer? I don't know, but sometimes I do find myself like, after 3 years, I do get to the point where it's just not been in my life for 3 years, to the point where I can just move on and be like, you know what? Like, I don't care. Like,
Right.
I've waited so long that I'm okay. Like, if it wasn't like, Severance is amazing, so I'm more than happy to wait.
Yeah.
Because I've been singing its praises since I watched it, and I thought it was amazing. But there are occasionally shows that maybe didn't grip me as much as Severance, because that felt like a very much once in a 5-10 year kind of show.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the thing, right? Where it's like, it probably didn't leave as much of an impact on you as like what you initially thought.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why after 3 years, you're like, I mean, I could give or take.
But then I also think that like 3 years in development, that also sounds super fucking expensive.
Yeah, it
that
does.
sounds like a lot more money on the table with these shows.
Yeah.
And I don't, you have to, I feel like a bit concerned. I'm like, I don't want shows to just become like insanely expensive things that always take forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there is some valid criticism as to taking too long with the show, but at the same time, I would much rather just let them cook. And
I think the other thing as well is that if there is so much time in between, say, seasons or whatever, the expectations for that next thing to be good just keeps increasing, right? So it becomes a double-edged sword.
Well, this is like a kind of a Silk Song situation. Like Hollow Knight, where it's like, I think Hollow Knight Silk Song, which you probably have heard more about this fucking thing than the game itself.
Yeah.
Which is the fact that this is DLC that they've promised to make.
Supposedly it's coming out this year.
They say that every fucking year. It's fucking weird. Silk, and maybe it will be out. Maybe by this time. And knowing our luck, it'll be announced in between this episode.
Yeah, probably tomorrow.
Like, because that's just how our luck goes.
Yeah.
But like, I think sometimes when you announce something, which I think is the hard part, or like when people expect something, and then too much time passes, the expectations almost overtake anything that could possibly be delivered.
Yeah.
Because they're like, why is it taking... How long has it been in development for now, Silk Song? Like, the expectations outlive anything that you could ever deliver. At that point,
absolutely.
Right? Because you basically have to just do Hollow Knight 2 at this point.
Yeah.
The size of like how long people will be waiting for this thing, right?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, which is like, for a DLC, that's kind of
ridiculous.
It's kind of long.
It's pretty long.
But like, people like let them cook.
Yeah. I mean, people still
like,
hype for it.
It does get to the point where you're like, is there anything they can deliver that will match the hype now?
Yeah.
Is there, like, I don't know. Like,
I don't want empty promises. You know?
I don't know if it can reach it, It kind of becomes its own self-fulfilling prophecy of like suffering.
It's like no matter what you release, it might not ever actually live up to the hype.
Because people don't even know Hollow Knight don't know anything about this game, but they know about this.
Yeah,
and like that's a problem. That shouldn't be it. Like that's not normal.
It's like the Half-Life 3 effect,
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Well, you're like, hey, no way we got this for GTA 6, but people know GTA 6 will come out.
Yeah, exactly.
So like that's like people don't actually like think that way about it.
Yeah, totally.